The climate change one is wild. Because the thing about the climate change one, it's both sides. It's kind of undeniable. Like, it is undeniable we're having an effect.
Yeah.
It's undeniable.
Agree.
But I watched this guy discuss, I forget what legislators, what politicians he was talking to, but he was asking them because they were trying to figure out what to do about carbon emissions. And he said, what do you think the level of CO2, like what percentage of the air is CO2? And everybody had a guess, like 5%, 7%, whatever it was. And he said it's actually 0.3
Yep.
or 0.4.
Yep.
0.3. And at 0.2, plants die.
Right.
Is that true? Find out if that's true. When that guy was saying that, I was like, they don't know because they're just guessing.
Right.
So they
No, it is 0.3 because it's 300 per million. It's 0.3.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's an effect that we're having, and that effect is causing the Earth to be the greenest it's ever been, right?
Yeah, no, look, we know this is real. It's actually 0.03, but yeah. But you can't scare the crap out of your kids all the time.
Right.
Don't scare them.
Here's the other thing. And this is, again, not denying that human beings have an effect on the climate. We clearly do. It's never been stable.
No.
The climate's never been stable. It's never like a flat line. Like, look, if we go back to the dinosaurs before people started fucking around, it was a nice flat line. You always knew what temperature was going to be on September 19th, 2020.
Right.
September 7th, come on. No, you didn't. It's like, it was all kooky. The whole thing is like this. If you watch I had Steve Koonin on, who's a physicist, to explain all this.
I think you asked me to look up.
Is this it? I think so. Yeah, here it is.
10% of our atmosphere is CO2, carbon dioxide. Wild guess, it's okay.
About 5%.
Right?
I'll just follow you then.
See their 5 and suggests that we know that transportation causes 49% of CO2, so that's why we're all working on energy transition.
All right. So what number do you think it is?
5.
5? How about you? I didn't hear you, Mr. Dreher.
7.
7. Do you have one, Mr. Boyd?
So we got a 5, 7,
The price is right.
8. I'm gonna
Okay.
hit the high end.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and I don't mean to put you on ice. I ask a lot of people that because all we hear is climate change, CO2. I heard a couple of you on the panel saying you're looking to change your vehicles to electric, even though we don't have the electric grid. And me as a farmer, I wouldn't be real happy about running out and replacing $300,000, $500,000, $1 million pieces of equipment because someone wants to be electric. The answer is 0.04%. Not 1%, not 0.5%. 0.04%. It's gone up from 0.03 over the last couple decades. This is what we're being all contorted into doing, is this tiny change in CO2. If we get below 0.02, plant life starts dying off. So let me ask Mr. Boyd, what are a lot of your vehicles Tier 4 already, or the vehicles that you know about in the industry?
Yes.
All right, so that's the cleanest burning diesel equipment you can get, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. How about Mr. Dreher? What do you think?
Yes.
Okay. So why would anybody be anxious to go out and change out all those vehicles that you've been upgrading? In my home state of California, CARB has eliminated lots of equipment. Trucks, we're down at least 70,000 truckers, and all because they don't make a mandate for a 2011 and newer vehicle. And so it's going to be harder to get things from the ports, all that. So anyway, I just wanted to underline that as we all get all giddy about trying to make everything electric, especially in my home state when they're shutting down the power grid and taking out hydroelectric dams, and they barely kept in place the nuclear power plant for an additional 5 years, which is 9% of our grid. I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how you guys are going to do construction out in remote areas where there isn't power lines yet nearby or what have you, in order to charge this stuff. Maybe you'll bring generators. So anyway.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
So interesting, right? You see these people that's why we're working so hard to remove carbon from the air, and she doesn't even know it.
Yep.
She doesn't know what he just said.
Yes.
But she'll tell you that 49% of that 0.4 or 0.04 comes from trucks.
Yes.
Comes from transportation.
Look, I think there's an even more basic problem, okay? The problem is the Chinese and the Indians, we can go to a post-industrial society and all live, growing beets in the United States and Europe. They're not going to stop building coal-fired plants. They haven't stopped building them. Maybe they will promise to stop building them. Europe, basically, if you look at a graph, Europe is like a tiny fraction of the world's CO2 right now. Okay, in the U.S., we still emit a lot, but the Chinese emit a lot more. And I think the Indians are on track to pass us if they haven't passed us already. So we can destroy our own economies, and it won't make that much difference, unfortunately.
So
that's a real problem.
We are really concentrating on climate, and we're really concentrating on our impact. But we also have to be concentrating on what other countries are doing and our ability to economically compete with them and be sustainable.
That's right.
That's one of the really important things that we should have probably learned from the pandemic when we couldn't get stuff.
That's right.
Like, yeah, you couldn't get anything from overseas because they couldn't, it's COVID, lockdowns.
We do not want to be in the pockets of the Chinese. They're not necessarily our friends. I mean,
Aren't we already, though? Aren't
Well,
we
yeah,
kind of
we
already?
are. We are. Listen, we can have a decent relationship with them.
What they've done is so clever.
But we depend on them for everything.
It's amazing.
It's not a good position to be in.
But that's what makes people really cynical about these relationships these countries have. They're kind of enemies, but kind of not. You know, they're competing, but they're also, you know, selling each other stuff, and their economies rely on each other. Economic sanctions are the most devastating.
Yeah, I think we'd be mistaken to depend too much on the Chinese right now. So, but just to go all the way back, like, don't scare your kids.
No, don't scare the fuck out of people. But how do you not scare the fuck out of them while making them aware at the same time? They're two kind of different things, but...
But don't tell your kids the world's going to end in 50 years.
No,
and we can't-
that's all nonsense.
Yes.
Well, wasn't that what Greta Thunberg was saying in
Yes.
2015? Yeah, the idea that you can predict how this is going to go down seems nutty. But really, we need to concentrate on some stuff that we absolutely can control. And one of them is plastics in the ocean. Like, there's these people that are doing a great job of trying to figure out methods to sift that stuff out. Just the sheer knowledge of how much is out there.
Yes.
Do you know a lot of our stuff, apparently, we used to think that when you recycled, that everything gets recycled. But apparently, they don't do such a good job recycling plastic. They just use it and put it in landfills. And sometimes they ship it to other places. Hey,
This
you
is
guys
something
take it. We don't
I
even
know
want it.
nothing about, but I believe you.